Letters. The building blocks of society. Yeah, I didn't really know where I was going with this. Firekeepers Daughter is a teen novel written by Angeline Booley. At its core, it's a book about indigenous culture, drugs, and infatuation. Groundbreaking stuff, really. Donis, our psychocomp through this story, is freshly out of high school and about to go to college when she meets Jamie! This scarred, handsome, hockey-playing heartthrob here causes dear old Donis' life to get flipped upside down. Why? Because Jamie isn't who he seems. He is actually an undercover FBI agent sent here with his handler to investigate a growing meth problem that they suspect to be originating in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and that they have seeked out Donna specifically because her uncle was the previous CI who died under mysterious circumstances surrounding the investigation. They suspect the meth may have been altered with some sort of mushroom to make it different and more addictive, and Donis has proved to be good with biology. But Donis only finds this out after watching her best friend get shot in front of her due to said investigation, and Jamie informing her of the situation before trying to cut all ties with Jamie because she hates him now. But, not really. He's so mysterious. Now, while the concepts may change slightly from book to book, it might not be about crack. Maybe it centers around gambling. I don't know. Books like these tend to share qualities and characters as well. But does this book break that mold? Does it bring a new, engaging novel to the table? No. Or does it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to play Does This Novel Do Anything Worthwhile Enough to Commit Time to Reading It? Let's see. It's a long book, so I'll give you my best attempt at a minute breakdown. Donis is a high school grad getting ready to go to her local college with her best friend Lily. She's currently not in the best mindset because her uncle has recently passed and her grandma has had a stroke. She starts off her day by going for a run with her half-brother Levi, the captain of the local hockey team. After, she goes with Lily to the local community center and meets up with Levi again, who introduces her to Jamie, the new high schooler on the hockey team. After talking to Jamie at the rink, she begins to get close to Jamie, going to an indigenous celebration and after-party with him. Oh, that's another thing I should bring up before I go further. Donis is half indigenous, half not. Her dad was a firekeeper, but he's not listed on her birth certificate, so Donis is not an enrolled tribal member. Present through the book is a lot of points revolving around indigenous beliefs or cultural aspects that I will explain as needed. At this after-party, Lily shows up trying to escape her meth-cooking ex, Travis, who ends up killing both Lily and himself because she won't get back with him. Right after this, it's revealed that Jamie is an undercover FBI operative here to investigate an ever-expanding meth empire. After being sad for an absurdly short time, Donis is convinced to join the investigation. How this fully convinces her to join still causes me a headache, but who am I to question? Her uncle believed that the meth may have been altered with some sort of hallucinogenic mushroom to change its effects. She and Jamie are sent off to go learn how to cook meth to better identify things that may point to how and where it may be cooked. They are told to pose as boyfriend and girlfriend, but they hate each other now, so that definitely won't turn into something. After coming back from some good old meth cooking, Donis starts her college experience without Lily and goes mushroom hunting to go find what may be the added product in the meth. While doing this, she finds the body of a former classmate, Heather, overdosed and dead. Quickly skipping over this minor inconvenience, we get to Donna's first hockey game as a hockey girlfriend. Post-game, she meets goalie Mike and his dad, who invites her and Jamie's handler/posing uncle Ron to a rewatch party of the hockey game. After some unpleasant things happen, she starts to get closer to Jamie emotionally for help. She shows up to the Elder Center, as in tribe elders, not crippled old people, and is ambushed with a surprise of 26 elders lining up to give their written support for her tribal enrollment. Then Donis goes to the next game and is enraged when she sees Grant donate a bunch of souvenir pucks with badly painted dream catchers on them. Then again, that night, she finds out that an old teammate, Robin, has also died of a meth overdose. She then encourages the team to put on a hockey benefit game in her honor. Later, Levi and the other players are going across the border when Levi then asks Donis if he can borrow her debit card because he can't find his. This is because they have a shared account, so money taken out removes it from both of them. She gives him her card, but decides to check the bank to make sure there's enough in there. They usually keep a couple hundred to be safe. There's over $10,000. Donis gets suspicious and decides to ask Levi about it later, though. Donis later finds and reads a journal her uncle left behind, where she finds out that the mushrooms are a dead end, and that in fact the thing that makes Meth-X, the nickname for the meth produced, so potent is indigenous love medicine. Donis goes and plays in the benefit game, and afterwards, her and Jamie score a goal, if you know what I mean. Or at least, almost, until Jamie says he loves Donis during their scoring, which scares Donis. A couple days later, Donis finds out that Levi has been wiring money to an offshore account in Panama, in her name. She then sneaks into Levi's house and confirms that he's the drug mule by finding meth inside some of the Dreamcatcher pucks Grant donated. Levi's mom then comes over to her place under the pretense of being worried about Levi. Plot twist, she's not. She drugs Donis and then she wakes up in a trailer trapped with Jamie, who is also kidnapped. Through exposition's sake, she finds out Mike is the ringleader, while Levi is a mere underling. Levi takes Donis away from the trailer to take her to their cooking plant. They want her to make the meth for them because she's just chill like that. She breaks out of the car with the help of some elders who see her looking scared, and then she runs and finds the car of Coach Bobby, who tells her to get in. Plot twist, he's a bad guy. She then crashes his car and brings the police back to the trailer where she almost dies due to a liver laceration from the crash. She lives, though, waking up in the hospital. And that's basically where the book ends. Look at that. Exactly 1 minute. Now, it's a very expansive book. A lot of words, arcs, and turns along the way. Way too much to try to fit in that breakdown. However, the biggest twist of the entire book is, get ready, Donis and Jamie don't end up together. I know, what? After all this build-up and clear chemistry between the two opposing parties, forbidden in a relationship, the best love story since Romeo and Juliet, they don't get a fairy tale ending? What? Okay, in all seriousness, this is a crazy twist of fate. I mean, in a realistic and life-forming perspective, this is the best choice Donis could have ever made, and major props to Angeline for writing this ending. Throughout the book, Donis and Jamie's relationship is majorly unstable, going from being about two people hating each other to both saying they love each other and switching back and forth over and over. It's terribly unhealthy. At what point do you stop calling it a will they, won't they, and instead call it a toxic relationship? Donis herself, as she's lying in the hospital bed, thinks about the parallels she sees in her relationship with Jamie and the relationship between Lily and Travis. They are strikingly similar. Taking in this information, she actually compiles it and denies Jamie a relationship. Actually, this ending reminds me of an equally jarring ending when it comes to the romance plot. Pacific Rim. These stories share basically nothing, except for the fact they both have a romance plot. Pacific Rim's ending really sticks with you because throughout the entire movie, it subtly builds on the two main characters' relationships all the way until they win their final battle, and just as they're about to fall into the trope of getting together, they don't. And it is the most beautiful and infuriating thing. While this feels like a stronger ending due to the more stable relationship, Firekeepers Daughter does a good job offsetting expectations of the traditional stereotype of teen romance novels that it almost saves the book in my opinion. Almost. When I say almost, I don't really mean almost, but I like how the ending changed things up, so I'll give it that. Negatives. Does this book have them? Well, Angeline tries to mix 3 different book genres together. Action, romance, and mystery. When she puts them together, they're all kind of there. Blending genres is nothing new. Movies and books have done this for as long as is memorable. Lots of these create great, cohesive stories with multiple layers if they're treated correctly. If they're not, it's very easy for one of the genres to overpower all of these other genres. What can make this worse is if that one overpowered aspect of the story isn't written well. Can you see where I'm going with this? A piece of media I thought was great at blending genres was the movie The Fall Guy. It took on the task of blending action, comedy, and romance together. It even threw in a little mystery in there. And it succeeded. Maybe not financially, but I haven't met a person who didn't like The Fall Guy. The writers did a great job of building out both Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's relationship within the first 2 minutes of the movie, and shows their chemistry immediately. You want the best for both characters, and the plot is so fun and interesting to follow, balancing comedy and symbolic scenes while keeping the romance plot moving along as well as holding the mystery. Now, Firekeepers Daughter doesn't do that. It leans mostly towards the romance plot throughout the whole novel, almost seemingly taking breaks to force in the meth plot and her indigenous identity. This wouldn't be as bad if the romance was actually written well, but it's not. I'll be honest, originally I kind of liked the romance plot, until I came to my senses around chapter 15 to 20, that kind of area. After Lily dies and Donis finds Jamie lying about his identity, Donis now hates Jamie and won't go back to him. So you think, okay, we're gonna get that haters to lovers cliche. I mean, nothing real reinventive about the teen novel with this, but it can work. They'll probably start coming back to each other around 2/3 through the book. I'll just turn the page and, they're together again. They barely get a break before they start falling for each other again. And even this wouldn't seem so bad if it was written well, but it isn't! They have no reason other than a couple cordial conversations, and they barely even get those out. They easily get incredibly upset at each other, and they're both just generally annoying in each other's presence for the reader. Again, genre blending works, even if one takes precedent, if it's written well. This just feels like a slog to get through, with the interesting meth plot taking a back burner to this incredibly subpar romance. Speaking about the back burner, Donis's indigenous identity? It feels like it was thrown in there as something to differentiate this book, giving indigenous representation in a teen book. Having someone of a different culture as a protagonist can be a good way to educate readers to cultures and can be used for some good plot points. But not here. There are so many pieces of her culture just thrown out there with no real point that they almost immediately get lost in a sea of information, and the plot points her indigenous identity correlate to seem overlooked quickly. For example, Donis finds out that instead of mushrooms being used with the meth X, it's traditional indigenous medicine. That's all we get. No explanation of why it does what it does, no explanation of what it is. It just seems like it could have been left at mushrooms and it would have been fine. As someone that takes in all types of media, I try to give authors and creators the benefit of the doubt. With movies, I see well-shot scenes or smart dialogue, I'm happy. With audio shows, I'll enjoy a story if it's written well, even if the voice acting isn't great. And with books, if it has a couple well-written sections, I'll like it. But this book, the only scene I liked was the end. The scene that was supposed to be upsetting and jarring just made me happy because it meant it was finally over. As an attempt to redefine what a teen novel could be and to facilitate a blend of genres, it was just that, an attempt. And attempts are something to be applauded and noticed. But criticism is also essential to the building and improvement of said attempts. That's why, even though this book sucks, it's a valiant effort. While I wouldn't read this book again, it won't discourage me from reading other books with premises similar. Also, good riddance, Jamie.